Hello and welcomes everyone. AnthWolf here, beginning a new Let's Play. As you can no doubt tell from the title of the video, or from the background image I'm using, once again, we are playing even more Star Wars The Old Republic. This of course is a replay of a series I did approximately, well, by the time I released this video, likely 5 years ago. This of course is the replay of the Sith Inquisitor series. Now, this video, similar to my previous introduction videos, is mostly setting the scene, explaining a few things about what the series is going to be all about before we get into character creation. The next video, part 2 of course, will be when we actually get into some gameplay. So, you've most likely have seen this video once before, if you've seen any of my other Star Wars The Old Republic videos. Or series, I should say. But just in case there's a very small demographic that haven't seen one of those before, then welcome, feel free to stick around, maybe pause, make yourself a drink, get yourself comfortable, and we'll get right into it. So, as I say, this is going to be a replay of a series I did approximately 5 years ago, and because I let that sit for so long, I could continue with my Sith Sorcerer LP as Veriia. But because it's been sitting for almost 5 years now, I thought I'd start at level 1 once again, start at the very beginning, and work my way forwards. So, before we talk about the Sith Inquisitor, the Sorcerer and Assassin, which are its advanced classes, let's set the scene, shall we? So, Star Wars The Old Republic. It is set approximately 3,500 years prior to the events of the movies, which most people are more familiar with, and it is in a time of great unrest in the known galaxy. There are two major factions. We have the Galactic Republic, which was founded 20,000 years ago, or so, and of course the Sith Empire, which has reappeared from the unknown regions. And 10 years prior to the start of the events of this game, there was a treaty signed as both factions were going at it hammer and tongs. The war basically engulfed most of the galaxy, and even though the Empire were quite close to overwhelming victory, at least I would think so, the Sith Empire, the Sith Emperor I should say, pursued a peace, though it was probably heavily in the Empire's favour, where a lot of the worlds they managed to capture, they were allowed to keep somewhat. Which greatly upset a great deal of people in the Republic, I imagine. So, 10 years has passed in an uneasy truce, and we are starting out as, well, we have a very humble beginning as a Sith Inquisitor, as the opening scroll will explain, as well as the tutorial planet will be on. Our character is actually starting out as a slave. The Empire is gearing up because they know the peace can't last, and so they are trying to recruit as many Force sensitives as they possibly can. And we just happen to be a slave, whether we started on the world of Korriban or we were elsewhere on one of the other Imperial worlds. They happened to discover we were indeed Force sensitive, and so they send us to the Sith Academy. And we will become Sith or die trying. To be fair, in the Sith hierarchy, the way they do things, they probably don't care which. In fact, if we had have refused, and we weren't really in a position to refuse, they would have probably killed us just to make sure that we didn't end up getting discovered by the Jedi. So, we will become Sith or die trying. And that's pretty much where we leave ourselves when we get into the beginning of the game. So, we'll discover and learn more about that once we get into probably part 2 of this new series. This is going to be what I consider a long Let's Play. That's where we do a majority of the side and exploration missions, in addition to the world and class missions, which are obviously important to our character. It gives us a bit more flavour as to what is going on the various worlds we will be visiting. We will likely be doing a good few of the heroic missions as well on the various worlds we will be travelling to, and we'll probably, especially early on, be doing a few of the flashpoints, which are Star Wars The Old Republic's equivalent of dungeons. I've never done any operations in this game, and it's been many years. Has the game been out for about 9 years now? I believe so. I've still yet to do a single operation. Holy hell. But yes, operations are the equivalent of raids from other MMOs. But you never know. I won't say we won't do one, but maybe someday. In addition, we will be making use of a set of adaptive armour. This is armour our character can wear to boost our various stats or attributes. Some of that armour we might not be able to wear until we're a higher level, but we'll explain that once we get actually in-game. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else I really need to mention, and if I have forgotten anything, we'll do it once we get into character creation and into the introduction of the game. So yeah, I will end my rambling here, and I will see you on the character creation screen, and we'll take it from there. I will see you in just a moment. And welcomes back, everyone. Okay, let's get ourselves into character creation. Sorry, I was there. Prior to starting this recording, I was going through some of my former characters, seeing what they had on their persons. It was a bit nostalgic, to be honest. We are playing on the Darth Malgus server, which is one of the English-speaking European servers. So we're starting at the very beginning of the Old Republic. I still have my level boosts back from Knights of the Fallen Empire, Knights of the Eternal Throne, and we've still yet to go into the Onslaught expansion. Let's not look at these, shall we? Spoilers will likely be there. Okay, so we get to choose our allegiance. We have the Galactic Republic, as I mentioned, founded 20,000 years ago by explorers and diplomats. The Galactic Republic is a vast democracy led by the Supreme Chancellor. The Republic is a chaotic amalgam of many worlds, corporations, and species, which often clash with one another. I always describe the Galactic Republic as a great idea for pooling resources, but very little actually gets done. There's a lot of red tape, and a lot of the various species, the various worlds, look out for themselves and don't try to upset the status quo. It's only when the Sith Empire really arrived, or there's some other great galactic threat, where they can actually set aside some of their differences and actually get shit done. And, with that in mind, we have the Sith Empire, a rigid militaristic society where aliens are subjugated and the Sith Lords are supreme. The Empire is ruled by the mysterious, all-powerful Sith Emperor. To Imperial citizens, power is everything, and only the strongest ascend to glory. So, what to say about the Sith Empire without going into too many rambles? Even prior to the signing of the Treaty of Coruscant, the Sith Emperor was distant. It seemed he was occupied elsewhere, and the major day-to-day operations are ran by various cliques, various factions within the Empire, but most of them follow instructions by a group called the Dark Council. The Dark Council is made up of, I believe, 12 of the most powerful Sith Lords at the time, and each have their own sphere of influence. So, for example, I believe, let me get this right. Which Darth is involved? I mean, Darth Maul is involved in the defensive sphere, where his major concern and his operations are in the defense of the Empire and how that comes about. And so he will likely work alongside Imperial intelligence and, of course, the Sith Enclave, and discuss various things with the actual Imperial army in case there are attacks via the Republic or other sources. And the other Sith Lords have their own overlapping spheres of influence. But, yeah. As mentioned as well, if you aren't a human or pure-blooded Sith, there is some unique dialogue throughout the game, depending on what class you play as, because you will be looked down upon by certain individuals in the Empire, mostly members of the Sith hierarchy, who believe how Force powers are transferred. But, suffice to say, let's become a member of the Empire once again. And now we get to choose not only our standard, our main class, but we now get to choose our advanced class as well. Back in the day, this used to be chosen once you left your prologue world of Hutter or Korriban, but we get to choose it now at level 1. Not that it greatly matters, there are some unique skills that you can learn for your advanced class, but the discipline trees that you can choose for that class, the first skill you learn is at level 10, so it's not as if you're really missing out too much. The unfortunate thing is that once you've chosen your advanced class, you can't change it at all, which is understandable, of course. You can choose your discipline tree on the fly, as long as you're out of combat and you've learned the specific legacy ability, or you can go back to Veriia Space Dock, the Imperial fleet, and speak to an NPC there to reset your discipline path. Now, this playthrough, this series, is going to be very reminiscent of my original series as a Sith Inquisitor, where we played as Veriia. There are many different ways you can probably play a Sith Inquisitor, how you want to roleplay the character, and, well, we'll talk about it once we get a bit further into character creation. But, once again, we are going to be playing as a Sith Sorcerer. Sorcerers draw energy from the forbidden depths of the Force, mastering techniques that sap and drain enemies as they invigorate allies or simply wreak utter devastation. And if we have a look here, yeah, the Sith Sorcerer has 3 discipline paths, a healing path, and 2 DPS paths as well. We could of course play as a Sith Assassin. They have a cloaking ability and they also wield a double-bladed lightsaber. They have a tanking tree and of course 2 other DPS trees. But I always love throwing around Force Lightning. We'll likely go down the lightning tree once again, though we might give the madness tree a try as well, because it's been a while since I played as a madness sorcerer. But yeah, we'll be playing as a sorcerer now. And now we get to choose what species we're going to be playing as. With the Onslaught expansion, I think they did introduce the Nautolan species. To be honest, I'm glad that they give us more customization, more options for what race we want to play as. I can't design an Outland that I'm happy with personally, and so we're actually going to go back to very much playing a standard human. I've already predetermined what my character's going to look like, so forgive me for that. Humans are by far the most common species in the galaxy. Humans are versatile and the norm against which other species are judged. And we're going to be playing as a female Sith Sorcerer.
I suppose I can lower myself to do this.
Ooh, actually, one second. I'm just going to double check to make sure I'm recording my audio. I am good. That would have been awkward, shall we say. Okay, now we get to choose our human female's appearance. As I say, I've already predetermined what she will look like. We're not going to have any scars. That's fine. Eye colour. It's going to go for like a dark brown here. Let's have a look. No cosmetics. Hairstyle. We'll go for that one. I'm going to go for black hair. There we go. And skin tone. It's going to be somewhat tanned. As I say, and as it will mention,
that's somewhat intriguing.
We are indeed a former slave. I can imagine we work both indoors and outdoors, being forced to do various, I suppose, manual labour. As you will see a lot of a lot of slaves doing manual labour throughout this playthrough, especially early on. So, before we give our character a name and go through the opening scroll, let's look into the Sith Inquisitor Storyline. I'm going to read through this. Feel free to skip ahead if you so wish, I understand, but it kind of sets the scene as to what an Inquisitor may be all about. So, sinister, deceptive, the prodigy of Force power. The history of the Sith Empire is fraught with scheming politics and dark secrets. The lifeblood of a Sith Inquisitor. Treachery hides around every corner in the Empire's dark corridors, and survival depends on an individual's natural cunning and the will to manipulate and defeat their enemies and allies alike. The Inquisitor experiments with forbidden powers to not only survive in this cutthroat environment, but to excel and seize authority. Regardless of potential, few acolytes succeed in facing the rigorous trials to become Sith Inquisitors. Only the most determined acolytes attain such an achievement, but these Sith are often the ones to watch. Due to their manipulative genius, Inquisitors are skilled at exploiting both their enemies and their allies to further their own personal agendas. Channeling this Force energy, Inquisitors are capable of draining the life from their enemies and using it to feed themselves and their allies. Though their skills are varied and many, Inquisitors are often feared for their ability to channel the energy of the Force, making them a spectacle to behold on the battlefield. Seething sparks of lightning explode from the Inquisitor's fingertips and wrap their enemies in tendrils of pure Force energy. Because Inquisitors can twist the Force into lightning to stun, subdue or destroy their foes, it has become their signature. Those who have experienced the sensation of the Inquisitor's Force lightning and survived forever recoil from the crackling sound of electricity. In regards to mastering the dark side, to reach the highest echelons of power, the Inquisitor needs more than Force lightning and a razor-sharp mind. The most formidable Inquisitors dare to explore unorthodox practices by investigating the enigmas of the past and by unlocking new powers for themselves. The Force is a source of unlimited potential, a wellspring Inquisitors tap and bend to their will. Such intensity allows Sith Inquisitors to become architects of the Empire's future, or simply the architects of their own destruction.
I suppose I can lower myself to do this.
Oh, lovely. Yes, the Sith Inquisitor. As I say, there are many ways you can roleplay the character. Similar to Veriia, we are going to be playing the Inquisitor as someone who is going to be grasping power by her fingertips and hopefully not letting go. The whole idea that, the whole opportunity that becoming a member of the Sith and gaining whatever power she can for herself is a great kind of motivation for her. And if she has to manipulate and find ways to basically weasel more authority for herself, she will be willing to do so. And so we'll have to see what choices are available to us. I can't recall, it's been such a long time. I haven't really played my Sith Sorcerer. And I haven't played Veriia for so long, I can't recall all the choices I made for her. But this may be very similar. And so you might be wondering, well, why don't I play a male sorcerer? Vary it up a little. And it's only because I recently played my Jedi Knight, Venton, and he was male, that I decided to switch it up and play as a female this time. And we'll just have to see how things go. But yeah, last thing I need to do, which I need to double check here, is actually give our character a name. Now, this name I actually used, I say recently, I used the name a year ago for my attempt at a Sith Sorcerer. And that series didn't go particularly very far because I had other things happening at the same time, unfortunately. So I've decided to reuse the name and put that series to bed and just made the videos private on my YouTube channel. And that name, of course... Oh, that's a good start. Ooh. There. Why is that not... Interesting. Technical difficulties. Professional YouTuber, you can tell. There we go, holy hell.
I suppose I can lower myself to do this.
Is Morathi. I was going to use another name, but I decided if I ever did another... If I do another Sith Inquisitor in the many years in the future, if the game's still around in the many years in the future, and we go light-sided, then we might use that name instead. But we'll go into the opening scroll here and now, and we'll get ourselves arriving on our tutorial world of Korriban, where we'll take our break. But let's actually get into the game, shall we? I'll see you in just a moment. Ooh. Invalid characters, you say? Oh, professional YouTuber here. Oh. I don't know what happened there. There we go. Perfect. I'll see you in just a moment.
last one to arrive is finally here. I hope you don't think you're special. It would be a shame if freedom went to your head. Or if you somehow got the idea you didn't need to pass your trials to become Sith. Lord Zash has tasked me with sorting through you refuse to find one worthy of being her apprentice, and I intend to do just that.
Who is this Zash?
That's Lord Zash to you, slave. She's a Dark Lord of the Sith and more important than you'll ever be. Now the rest of you gutter trash already know your trial. Get going while I bring our latecomer up to speed.
Watch your back, friend. And don't worry, it'll be all right. He can't kill us all.
I will. And you take care of yourself.
Believe me, I'll be watching back, front, everywhere.
Now, slave, for your trial. There's a hermit named Spindrol who lives in the tomb of Ajunta Paul in the Valley of the Dark Lords. Spindrol's a lunatic, but Lord Zash sees him as some kind of prophet. Once you find him, he will test you.
The more challenging, the better.
But there, you know your task. Spindrol lives in the tomb of Ajunta Paul in the Valley of the Dark Lords. Don't keep Spindrol waiting, slave.
Delightful. I always enjoy meeting Overseer Harkin. Okay. Welcome to the actual the gameplay screen. We've just arrived on Korriban here. Just gonna make sure we turn off a few things. Okay, so let's get ourselves over to the Valley of the Dark Lords. It seems it's quite busy on Korriban. At the moment we do have some double experience, thanks to, of course, the time I am playing this. This is, of course, just after May the 4th. So, yeah, welcome to the Sith Academy. We have to go through the tomb of Ajunta Paul and meet Spindrol, this prophet who will teach us about our first trial and how we may become Sith. But, yeah, we'll be exploring the vast majority of Korriban during our time here. Now, I'm going to end this first video here. There is, of course, a few things we should probably go into. Brief explanations on UI, inventory, such as that. I'll make that very, very short at the beginning of the next video, because I imagine most people have either played this game for themselves, or have maybe watched either one of my former series, or a series from someone else. And you've probably played, if not Star Wars The Old Republic, another MMO, so you know what it's all about. But we'll briefly go into things so you know what's going on. I need to go through various bits of mail, which is why I parked myself next to this mailbox. And then we'll be, as I say, heading into the various tombs here in Korriban, and probably getting ourselves into a bit of trouble in between returning to the Sith Academy. But, yes, thank you all for joining me for this first part as a new Sith Inquisitor. And we'll see how this goes. But, as I say, thank you for joining me. Oh, someone's parked themselves, thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. As always... Can I help you? Feel free to leave a comment if you so wish. Obviously no pressure, and hopefully I'll see you for even more in the next part of this series. Until then though, take care. Bye bye now.